Review. In context, Part 232, the brake effect is defined as the brake capable of producing the nominal design retarding force on the train. Factors that must be considered for the making of a determination about the location of the power brake repairs can be made are presence of the hazard condition, locate for the relevant whether the condition, location, effectively accessibility of the crane with the hazard condition, accessibility, location for the person responsible for the making of repairs. Factors should not be considered for the making of a determination about the location for the power brake repairs could be made are location staff continuously congestion the work of the location can of the railroad perform a single car test at the location. Factors should be considered for the making of a determination whether the particular location for the nearest location where the power brake repairs could be made with a safely employee with the responsible for getting the equipment to and from the particular location. And for the train device telemetry equipment that should be tested on the equipment for the calibrated necessary for the equipment with the manufacturer's specification proceed at least every 368 days, which for the following are not considered for the calculating percent of the operative power brake with the train with a hand or parking brake that disconnect with the brake over to the inspection, testing, maintenance, and stenciling. Calculating the percent of the operative brakes is calculated by dividing with the number of the cut-in of the control valve with the number of the control valve at the end of the train. Equipment shall within the train with the operative of the brake shall not be placed in the rear of the train. Locomotive excluding with the distributor of the power of the load left unattended with the outside of the yard limit must have all hand brakes applied within each locomotive consists. Rails shall inspect the yard air for the shore with not less than frequently with twice each calendar year with not less than 5 months of the power with also maintain with the written electronic records of actions required during the inspection. Excluding extended the whole train with a class 1 brake test is required. Each location with a unit cycle of the train with a travel 3,000 miles with the last class 1 test. Class 1 brake test extended the whole of the train shall be performed with a qualified maintenance inspector. Which of the following shall be used for the testing train with the airflow method? Air pressure for the rear of the train shall be within 15 psi with the pressure for the train with the operative analysis and 75 psi indicate with the accurate gauge end of the train device rear of the train. 15. Brakes failed to apply with the inspection during Class 1, Class 1A. Class 2 with the brake test may be retested shall the remain applied with a period of not less than 3 minutes. Extended haul train that may not be move more than 1,000 miles without receiving another Class 1 brake test have any of the cartilage effect with the moving on Part 215.9 for repair initial terminal. Extended haul train that may not have more than one pickup with the one set out and in route with excluding the setting out of the defective equipment. Factor determine the location for the Class 1 brake test and include with the most restricted the car with the block of the cars of the train. 20. Inspection both sides of each of the cars sometimes during the inspection process is required in Class 1 brake test, Class 1A brake test. It's something key for the railroad to clear with the dynamic brakes of the freight locomotive. The deactivated freight locomotive with the inoperative dynamic brakes shall be repaired within 30 calendar days, becoming a defect with the next scheduled periodic inspection. Class 1 brake test is not required with the train adding more than one solid block of the cars if the blocks have not been off the air more than 4 hours. The actual one block for the previous train with the previously received with the Class 1 brake test were separated in multiple blocks due to the space of the train trackage constraints. At a minimum, what type of the test brakes will require, if any, relative to the question. 20. Class 1A brake test. Mechanical electronic yard device shall be calibrated not less than every 92 days annually, respectively. Yard air pressure opposite end of the block of the car is tested not less than 60 psi within 15 psi with a regulator valve sitting on the yard testing device. Each car shall receive a single car test not less than every 12 months with a shop with a repair truck 5 years with 8 yards for the rebuilt day. At the end of the train device shall be tested to determine the capability of initiating emergency application for the rear of the point of the installation. And this has been a reading.